You're just paranoid, Mike Mendez. You're the one that makes the scary, frightening movies.
I know, but see, this is
yeah.
the curse of making scary movies. You always expect and think of the worst case scenarios.
Take a left at the murder shack over there.
Totally.
We are on a Hollywood hike with Mike Mendez.
What up? Hello. Hi. He literally contacted me on Facebook Messenger and said, would you like to go to the portal from hell or to hell? And of course, how could I say no to an offer like that? So got my Starbucks and here we go.
So we're actually in Pasadena. JPL is like right in front of us. A really interesting area. They call this the JPL hike. And we'll probably get into the history.
You had another name for it, did you not? Wasn't it the Jack Parsons Hell Hike, or what was?
Yeah.
What was that enticing offer that you?
There's going to be some satanic ritual downhill.
Okay, yeah. Look, I really don't know where I'm going. This may be the last recording of me, so tell Mom I love her, and I would have liked to have been there for Christmas.
I really like your films. I feel like in the genre field, you really bring your personality into these films. I mean, I know that a Mike Mendez film is going to have, some crazy mayhem, but also have just this kind of unique humor, and comedy and stuff that you don't normally see in a lot of genre films. And how are you able to interject your personality into these films, especially in this kind of corporate world where you sort of, they want a kind of cookie cutter thing?
Well, I mean, thank you for saying so. That was very kind of you. Much appreciated. It's always, I can't tell you how much it's nice to know that anybody knows my work, because I consider myself a rather obscure filmmaker. Yeah, look, it's tricky to a certain degree. The hard part is getting them made. The voice kind of comes naturally. That's just my sarcastic sort of humor-filled view of the world, and so I like making people laugh. It's sort of, I think it's I'm a Gemini, and there was this birthday book that someone showed me once. I'm not into astrology whatsoever, but I was surprised that in this birthday book it really kind of had a description for my particular birth date, June 10th, which said that I balance light and dark, and I literally wear it on my sleeve, and I like dark things in a very light way. And in some ways that kind of sums up my filmmaking. I like monsters, I like death, I like mayhem, I like gore and blood and things that go bump in the night, but I also like to make you laugh. And so that, to me, there's a balance that can be struck where, you take the horror seriously, but it doesn't mean you can't have funny characters. And to me, that's always kind of an interesting mix. Now, I feel have done myself a massive disservice by doing that, because that is not what people look for when they are trying to hire someone for their new horror movie. Blumhouse is not, going through their horror films and going like, oh, that big ass spider was really funny. He'd be great for, The Strangers 3 or whatever. And so,
well, you can only be yourself.
I know it's tricky, and that's part of the thing, and it's a struggle that I find when I do get the opportunity to make a movie. I often have two choices. I can try to give them what, executives and producers expect, and, kind of try to play to them so that hopefully they'll hire me for a job, and it's probably what I should have done. Or I kind of look at it like, Jesus Christ, someone's giving me an opportunity to make a movie. This might be my only chance to kind of interject my voice and get it made. So I really, at some point, really started treating every movie like it was my last movie, meaning that I'm going to go for it. It's like I made it, and who knows, I might have already made my last movie. Who knows? But, I feel if I have the opportunity, I might as well just swing for the fences and really give it my all and try to put as much of my personality in the type of movies I'd like to see, just because I may never get another opportunity to do it. So I'm just like, you know, kind of, I'm here, I'm now, let's try to have fun with this, you know. So now again, every film is different. Every film calls for different things. It just seems that the kind of stuff that is sent my way and I'm attracted to tends to have a sense of fun about it.
There's an argument that perhaps movies that have humor won't translate overseas.
Right.
I think that a lot of executives tend to see the filmmakers as interchangeable.
Sure.
So you can just plug this person in or this person in, and I don't think that you fit that mold, and that's what that's I feel is a strength. That's what makes people want to see your films versus, you know, just making some kind of generic product.
I think it's important to have your voice be in there and kind of do it, you know. But again, it's tricky, and I am purposefully on the next one. I hope it depends. We'll see what comes next, but. I'm purposely trying to do something a little different, and because not all my movies are super
adult
zany.
Entertainment.
Yeah, yes, I'm going to get to that because the times are tough, really. So no, but no, I'd like to make kind of scarier, darker stuff. And going back to Grave Dancers, I had made that film, which was an attempt to be kind of more mainstream and a little more middle of the road, and it just sort of blended in with the mass of other horror movies. It didn't really stand out. It really didn't, you know, kind of like came out. There's people who like it, and I appreciate that, but it just sort of kind of came and faded away. And I didn't make another movie for 6 years, not because I didn't want to, just because no one was giving me the opportunity. So after that, from that, what I learned was like, well, what the fuck is the point of being safe? You know, it's like if you're given the opportunity to make a film, go for it. And make it your own, and put your own voice in it, and make your thing, because I may be gone tomorrow, you know, but the film won't be, and so people will go like, well, his work kind of like really stood out, really had its own impression and its own voice. So I just sort of try to encourage that in myself, and so I kind of seek that, or try to at least make something different. I don't want to make stuff that is you know, bland. You know, it's like, if I'm going to do something, I want it, you know, I want it to stand out, and whether it's because it's really fucked up, really funny, really violent, whatever it is, you know, something excessive, you know, I just, you know, the worst thing to me is being middle of the road. So it's tricky, you know, and it all depends on what the job is. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to do a lot of independent films, so I don't have as much of those voices, but I've also done stuff for television, and that can become a challenge if the producers are not on board with you. Yeah, that leads to fights. You know, there's definitely some stuff I've done that I'm just tremendously unhappy with, and others that it's just sort of like, well, it's a little bit of them, it's a little bit of me, but it's a made-for-TV movie, so I have to be realistic that it's not about me. It's about the network. It's about the team. You know, you are just an employee. You're part of the wheel. You're an important part of the wheel. But, you know, it's not like, oh, I'm making movies for myself. And so that's something that you have to go in with a different attitude when you're hired to do something for television.
So a lot of your films involve the occult, you know, conjuring up spirits, demons, things like that.
Some of us are just born with the darkness, as I call it. You know, it's just something that is innate. But I have been into monsters and dark things since I was an infant, pretty much. I mean, you know, I don't get me wrong, I like things like Superman and superheroes as well, but I had a very, very strong attraction to Dracula and Frankenstein when I was like 2 or 3. It's like those are the first toys that I wanted. Most kids love dinosaurs. That wasn't so much my thing. I particularly liked universal monsters. The Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon, those kind of things really spoke to me early on as a child. I mean, I started watching horror movies probably when I was 3. That's due to bad parenting, to be honest. But, you know, I thank them for that, because it gave me a career. I saw The Hills Have Eyes and Carrie in the theater, not the remake kids, the originals. But then that leads to all sorts of things, music and art in general. I've just always like the darker side of things, you know. So yes, the goth clubs and being a goth kid, that was certainly became part of it.
It starts with the shoes. You gotta get the Doc Martens or the combat boots, and then you just work your way up.
I grew up right around here. I went to St. Francis High School, which is, we could almost see from here.
Catholic upbringing, does you think that that has something to do with this kind of occult, like obsession with the occult?
I'm not sure. I mean, you know, because I went to Catholic school, so I know lots of alumni and you know, fellow students, and they didn't turn out like me. But I will say Catholic Church is fucked up. I mean, you know, it was not lost on me as a child that there was, you know, a bleeding dude nailed to a piece of plank of wood that was all bloody, and that was kind of the symbol of our religion. And I was like, that's fucked up, man. I mean, that's really weird. I mean, because really, I mean, we're used to the crucifix, and it's not even a thing anymore. But I mean, if he had died by guillotine or by, like, you know, waterboarding, I mean, what the hell would our symbol be? You know, it's just kind of fucked up. This torture device and this bleeding dude, you know, is like, oh yes, this is the symbol for our love for God.
So you weren't, your family didn't encourage you to be a filmmaker?
Well, my brother was the filmmaker of the family. He was, you know, very much my dad and my brother were the film lovers of the thing. So I grew up in that, and you know, it was second nature to go to the movies every weekend. And you know, that's how I was raised. So I just thought that's normal. That's what people do. And you know, to some degree they do. But we were really huge film lovers. First to get a VCR, first you know, always every Saturday or Sunday it was a matinee. It was just, you know, it's just what we did. But from that, and we couldn't be any less connected in Hollywood, because again, we were slinging burritos and pupusas, you know, and that was the bread and butter. But they knew a lot of actors, because my family, you know, also saved up enough to buy, like, property, like apartment buildings and stuff like that. And so it was very evident between the restaurant and the tenants that sometimes actors didn't have money for food. They didn't have money for rent. Sometimes it was fine. Oh, here you go. Here's next month's rent too. And sometimes it wasn't. And they saw how unpredictable the film business was, and they warned me, and they were right. Very, 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 very much discouraged me from following it. They really didn't want to support it at all, and it was it was kind of a fight between us, I'd say from high school to my early 20s, and it wasn't until I think, yeah, that's definitely when it changed. When I got my first film into Sundance, in 1997, I made a film called Killers, also in this area, just, you know, on 35, and you know, we'd saved up money and credit cards and things like that, made a movie for like $120,000, and were lucky enough to get into Sundance, and their attitude definitely changed, you know, because all of a sudden I was making a living, and for a moment I was making a good living, and they were suddenly started to become kind of proud of it. And then you know, by the time I got to Big Ass Spider, I was lucky enough to have them be in the movie as extras.
That's awesome.
Which was great for two reasons. One, my dad, part of the reason he was attracted to come to Los Angeles was because he was a film buff, and there was deep down inside this dream to be an actor. And he never realized it or even came close to it. Like I said, he you know, sold restaurant equipment and opened a restaurant. But you know, it was inside him, and that movie, you know, was his first experience on set, and he got to be on camera finally.
Wow.
And then on top of it, you know, within, I'd say, a year of shooting it, he passed away.
Oh my.
So it is, you know, I mean, it's a little dark, I suppose, but it is a really nice memory, and it's happened in a few cases of kind of putting people in movies and just sort of having them be extras, and you know where they are, you know, because they're family or whatever in the film, and that is, you know, I mean, kind of a bittersweet memory when when you see the film again and see people that are no longer with us. We're near JPL. This is a hike that you say Jack Parsons, famous scientist, rocket scientist, and occultist, used to travel.
He used to podcast from here.
Oh, good. That was amazing because they didn't have any of that. So
Yeah,
he really was
so
ahead of his time.
Yeah. The real cool thing about this area is this is where Jack Parsons, who was this rocket scientist, he was a local boy too.
Yep.
He was from Pasadena, self-taught rocket scientist. He never went to college.
Yep.
I guess he worked with Caltech, and he had a group called the Suicide Club because they were crazy and they kept on blowing up stuff in this area. He and a group of people started JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory. The interesting thing about Jack Parsons is he was deeply involved with the occult, and he really wanted to conjure up an antichrist called Babylon.
Yes, he wanted to, supposedly, allegedly, I find this hard to believe, but he died because he blew himself up trying to create a homunculus. And he had too much rocket fuel
Okay,
in his garage.
I don't know what a homunculus is.
It's like a little imp, like a little hellish imp. It's sort of like a genie, like an assistant. It's a little hellish imp that will, kind of help you get your desires, And so supposedly, according to the book, there was an experiment where he was, trying to summon this, and there were candles and rocket fuel, and it didn't go well for him.
Also, there's a relationship with L. Ron Hubbard.
Yes.
Which is another just an amazing part of the story.
He had a house here in Pasadena where they would have rituals and sex parties and stuff like that. And this groovy cat named L. Ron Hubbard came riding through town, and he was like, "Hey, I want to party with you guys." L. Ron Hubbard started having an affair with Jack Parsons' girl, and they ran off together.
But it's interesting too. The other thing too was the O.T.O, which was the sort of the occult group, Ordos Templar Orientis.
Okay.
O.T.O. Aleister Crowley named Jack Parsons the head of that group.
Right. I know that Parsons and Aleister Crowley were pen pal buddies, and Aleister Crowley had was it the Golden Dawn back then, or he might have evolved into something else, but he had his church essentially. And Parsons was very much like, I want to be part of that. I want to do kind of the West Coast chapter. So Crowley kind of was a bit of a faraway mentor. I knew that we were near the Hellmouth here when I saw the Christmas massacre. We have some kind of Jonestown shit going on here. This is what's left of Santa and Frosty and some of the other holiday characters. Man, this is just wrong.
Well, what happens when you're this close to the portal from hell?
Everything
just melts and dies.
Yeah, so this is tragic right here.
Except for these gardeners here.
Oh, here we are. Wow, I didn't know this. We're at the Devil's Gate Dam.
That's right. There's actually a nice view of the JPL here, but we're actually going down this way.
Okay. And a picture of the sign. All right, Devil's Gate Dam. Is this it? Is this the devil?
No. Well, this is Devil's Dam. No. The portal. It's going to take a little work. Can't just get to the portal from hell like a light little stroll and a couple. You gotta suffer a little bit.
Just stroll into Mordor.
and once you're there, you're there too.
Really?
Yeah. You'll see.
It's scary. I'm just telling you.
Okay. It starts with the tunnel.
I don't know if you can turn around here of where I'm being led into.
Here we go. This is the direction here.
So
we're going into the tunnel.
Here we go. This is how it ends. All right. Yeah, I'm feeling kind of hellish now. I'm feeling.
Well, the portal from hell smells like urine.
Yeah. I'm surprised that homeless people don't live in here.
I'm sure they do. Oh, and this is pretty slippery here, so just be careful. I don't want to kill Mike Mendez. He needs to make more movies.
I'm happy to hear that. Pleased to be reassured. Is this Blair Witch shit over here? Is that is that part of the portal from hell?
Yeah, they built. Hold on. Let me get a shot of this. Here, he's talking about the Blair Witch shit. It's kind of industrial Blair Witch.
I mean, I don't know. There's a fucking like Texas Chainsaw Shack over here, and a little monument to you know, Burkittsville, Maryland, and I hear the fucking Predator, which is all really, this is all again very...
You're just paranoid, Mike Mendez. You're the one that makes the scary, frightening movies.
I know, but see, this is
yeah.
the curse of making scary movies. You always expect and think of the worst case scenarios.
So we're just gonna take a left at the murder shack over there.
Yeah, totally. No, there is literally a fucking murder shack we're heading towards.
The Blair Witch thing is a training course for utility workers, but it does look like some kind of satanic diorama. I'm sure, like, you know, weed smoking kids go down here a lot.
Great.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll run into some.
So be real careful. I would not want to kill Mike Mendez here.
Okay.
That's for later. That's for the sacrifice later.
Holy crap. Yeah, you're not kidding.
Yeah. Okay, this is fun. This is starting to get fun. Okay, this is the riverbed.
Okay.
And so just be real careful on these rocks because
Yeah, no,
because they're loose and they're effed up. Kids, don't try this at home. It's dangerous.
I'm feeling like saying, are we there yet?
We're almost. And supposedly there's an outcropping that looks like the devil's head.
Really?
But I think the outcropping looks like Mike Mendez's head.
Okay.
But I'm not sure.
I have been told I possess a certain similarity.
Well, you know, you kind of enhance it with the facial hair and stuff.
Goodness. All right.
But yeah, it's kind of an interesting. Here it is. We're here.
All right.
We have arrived. We have arrived.
Holy shit.
There it is.
Wow. Okay, I mean...
Okay, do you see the devil?
I do.
You see the devil. So you like it?
I love it. I think if anything, I'm just surprised that I didn't find this when I was a kid. We totally would have filmed here. All right, so I have no idea what the hell this is. I'm gonna like a demonic hand might come and get me. Yeah, no, it's yeah. I'm happy I didn't step in that. That is. Wow. Okay. Some demonic shit there.
So, Mike Mendez, what's your impression of the portal to hell?
I mean, this is pretty crazy. The you know, the satanic rock is pretty nuts, and you know, obviously all the graffiti. You got the spider and snakes and centipedes, and I mean, yeah, this is far. And my other favorite part is the it's all for you, Damien. Little Omen reference there. This is far greater than advertised.
This is where it's. I mean, it's been reported where. Jack Parsons, L. Ron Hubbard, by direction of Aleister Crowley, came to this particular location to try to summon this scarlet witch named Babylon. And so they came here and they chanted and...
And did she show up, or what happened? I don't know. I wouldn't think so. I mean, I'm also curious how Aleister Crowley, living in London, knew there's a dam in Loch Yada that has satanic powers. You got to go there, you know.
They were on Snapchat.
It could be. Yeah, apparently. Maybe he learned about it on Wikipedia. I don't know. But that's it's crazy to me that he would know and said, you guys got to go to the Devil's Rock. But sure enough, that is the Devil's Rock.
Me and Mike have a portal to go through. So thanks for being a part of our hike.
All right, and we will see you on the other side. Hail Satan.